Hi everyone. So in the front end lessons, we ended with our form that could submit to a server side that we built ourselves. We learned that on the front end development course, how to make a back end for our front end, a quick one. So we've got that running here. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to learn how to set up a GitHub repository to keep this information or this program up in the cloud. That way, if any of you don't want to do anything with the backend, you could just go ahead and clone this repository and run it, and you don't have to go through building the backend. Although I would encourage you to do so. It's quick, it's easy, it's not really that difficult, and it gives you a great insight into how the backend works. And we're going to keep filling that backend out as we go. We added a post method to retrieve and store the information, or actually not store, but return it back. So we're going to actually keep filling that in as we fill in our front end. So we're going to learn front end and back end for a little while as we do this. So step one right now in this lesson is what we're going to do. And step one, it's the whole lesson, is we're going to just create a GitHub repo, show you how to do that. We're going to install Git on our machine. I already have it, but I'm going to show you where you can go to install it. And then we're going to push this source code up to the repository so that anyone can clone it, download it, and it'll be accessible to the public, anybody who wants to get to it. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So we've got our Hello World program, and we've got that installed, or not installed. We created it by downloading from Spring Boot Web, Spring Boot IO, Spring Boot Initializer. It's got several names. And then we went ahead and created our, let's go over here, our demo application with our new address post mapper, and we're just getting the address here and just returning it. So that's what we did. But what we want to do is put this whole Spring Boot app that we downloaded and modified with our index.html and our demo application up in GitHub so we can share our source code with anybody else who wants it, and actually maintain our source code ourselves and keep growing it if we want to start a project, whether a personal project or a project for somebody else. We want to put it up somewhere where our source code is safe and can be maintained and kept up to date and distributed if we wanted to. So source control, if you don't know what that is. So Git is what we use, and GitHub is a very popular Git repository service provider. So we're going to use GitHub, and we're going to store our project up there. And what a source code control management system is it allows you to keep your source code off your server. So that way, if you start making some changes and you don't like your changes, oh no, I can't get back, what am I going to do? You just go ahead and restore it from your Git repo. If anything happens to your computer, it's up in the cloud. You can just go ahead and get a different computer or fix your computer and pull your repo back down, and you're back where you left off. Typically, what you want to do is update your repo daily. Right? If you're working on a project, you want to try and make sure that you update that daily. So every day you've got at least, and it's at least once a day. But every day, if you make an improvement, you're keeping it up to date and backed up. So that way you're not losing any source code. And those things really help you too, because when I'm programming, I have less fear of getting stuck in a trap because I've got a good version up on the cloud. I could do anything I want to this version. Doesn't matter if I break it completely and it doesn't work at all. I could just go ahead and get back to where I was before. And if I incrementally improve it and keep updating it, I'm always that way up to whatever my last update is. So if I updated 6 times today with code that I liked, I can go back to that code that I liked, and anything that I do from that point on, whether I like it or don't like it, I could always restore back. So the source control management system is a really, really valuable tool and a must if you're going to do any serious development. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with that. So we've got our repo, and there's all this stuff that we opened in Visual Studio Code, but let's go ahead and drop to our command line. And here is the folder that we're in. So if I'm on a Mac, so if I go ahead and look here, I'm in Downloads Demo, because that's where I downloaded it to, and then I expanded it, and what it looks like is this, and I think we did this before in the previous lesson, but this is mostly from Spring Boot Initializer, and then we went ahead and modified the demo application here. And so this is all the stuff that we're going to check in, well, not the target folder, this part up here. And here's one thing to do. So I've got Git here, right? So I could get Git version, and I can see what version I have. Now, if I didn't have Git installed, I'd have to install it. But one thing I'm going to do is we have Maven W that comes with the Spring Boot initializer, so you don't have to install Maven and all this other stuff. We've got Java installed, so this will just run. So what I'm going to do is clean out. Oh, hold on. There. Now I'll type clean. And see this target folder right here? This is the compiled code of the source that's up here. So if I clean, and that should happen faster, I would think. Okay. So now if I run my tree command, now I'm just down to my source code. And so it's not compiled anymore. Got rid of all that. And so this is this is the stuff I want to check in. So let's go ahead and go to GitHub. And I've got way too many tabs open now. Let's go to GitHub. So github.com is where you want to go to start your GitHub repo. And so if you don't have one, you just go ahead and sign up. And it'll walk you through the sign up. So you enter your email address here. I can't really go too far with this because I already have it set up. But you just go ahead and follow this, and that'll get you set up for your account. And then you'll sign in once you're done. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. So okay, so remember, just go to GitHub and click sign up, and then follow this. I think it's really simple steps. You just enter your email, and you just go from there. Follow the prompts, and then you'll have an account set up. If I can find a recording of me doing this before, which I have done before, I'll insert it into the video. Okay, so now I'm going to go to sign in, and I believe I have a full stack cloud developer account. Full stack. That's a long thing to type. Okay. Yeah, that's not the password. Hey, I'm in. Okay, good. Do I want to save this? Yes, because I won't remember the password. And why does Google want that? I don't want that. Okay, so here's my account. I don't think I have any repos. I do have one. I've got the landing page service that comes from our, I think it's the full stack. Could be, I think that's the full stack course. All right, so I want to create a new repository. So this is what your GitHub will look like when you come to your home page. If you have any repos like I do, have one here. You'll have that, and then it's just really about clicking the new button here. All right, so here's the owner. That's me. Yours will have a different name, and then repository name. This is front end, so I'm just going to do this this right here, and then it's the front end, but it's the back end of the front end course. So I'm going to do front end course, and I'm just going to call it back end. Is back end one word? It is. Okay, so front end course back end. That'll go ahead and tell myself and anybody else who's downloading this. So if you don't want to do the back end part of this front end course, you could just go ahead and skip it and follow along with us by updating the repo when we make changes. So it's going to be a public repo. Typically, you'd put a description. I'll put something is the back end for the front end course. Okay, and it's a public repo. I don't want to initialize it. Typically, I don't do that. I could add a README. I'm just going to go ahead and create the repository. And then nicely, GitHub gives us these commands to run. So we've got a couple options. So we've already got existing code. So let's see, what are we going to do? Let's see, or create a new repository on the command line. So this is if we created a brand new repository on the command line. Let's see, or pushing an existing repository from the command line. I don't think that's it. And then, or import code from another repository. I think this is the one we want right here. We can just do, let's see, do we have a README? It does not have a README. So let's go ahead and copy all of these. So there's a nice copy button right here. And notice it's got all the commands, so you don't have to really be too concerned with running it, typing all this stuff out. Although I would encourage you to type everything out that you do, because you need to learn that these commands and get that muscle memory going. But let's walk through what it's going to do. Okay, it's going to echo, which is a Linux-like command. And it's so when you go to GitHub, you're going to create your GitHub account. Now, these are running Git commands here, so I think what we need to do first before we even do these, because you might not have Git on your machine, we're going to do this. We're going to do git scm.org. Okay, so I want you to go to this website if you don't have Git. And then you're going to go ahead, and this one, it automatically detected what OS I'm on. You're going to download for whatever your operating system in, and you're going to follow the prompts to install it. Now, the great thing about this is for Mac, it already has Git installed, so you typically don't have to install this. But for Windows, what's awesome is Git SCM comes with a terminal window that is Linux compatible. So that way you can run all the commands that I'm going to run here on Mac the same as you would on Windows. You're going to run the exact same commands if you run the terminal for Git SCM. So that's what I want you to do is if you don't have Git, go here to this website, download for your environment, and then in Windows you hit the start button and then search for Git SCM and open that terminal window there, and it'll be very similar to this terminal window right here. All right, so now once you've installed that, we're going to go back to here. All right, so now we've got our commands, so I'm going to copy. Actually, I'm not going to copy. Let's just go ahead and I'm going to do it this way. I don't want to type this long one, but I'll type out the rest of them. I don't want to type out that long one either. All right, so I'm just going to echo for the README. So this is what it's going to do. It's going to echo, so it created a README. So now if I run my tree command again, we'll see a README that got created right there. If I want to see what it says, I can do this, and you can too. That's what it is, front end, course, back end. So I can add to that later on. All right, so that's that part. Now I'm going to do Git Init, and what this is going to do is let's do ls-la, and that'll show all files, right? So these are the files that are here. If I run that command, Git Init, and then run, you'll see, so I ran that command, the Git, let's say ls-la again, and you'll see now that there wasn't a Git folder, and now there is. So it created a Git folder that has all the metadata for this GitHub, or this Git repository. All right, so then the next thing is we're going to add the README file. And in fact, what we're going to do is not add the README file, because if I did that, it's just going to add the README file. I could do Git Status, and it's going to show me that the README file is green and ready to be pushed up to the repo, but these red ones are not. So what I want to do is do Git add -all. So Git add -all will add all files here and subfolders. So if I hit that, and then I do Git Status, you'll see now everything's staged. It's all green. Now you want to make sure that you did this MVN, and you can actually run this command now in your Git SCM terminal window on Windows, the same as we do on Linux or OS X. So I'm going to get MVNW and then clean. You want to make sure you run this clean. If you have too many files on here that aren't sourced, you're going to have a pile of binary files up in your GitHub repo, and you really don't want those because those are the things that change every time we compile the program. So clean, make sure that this is a clean tree, and then status shows me what everything is to be staged. So now their next command is Git Commit. So we're going to do commit. So, and I should be typing this. So let's do this. Git Commit, and then that's the command, and then -m, and this is our message. So -m, and then you open a double quote and you type your message. Let's do initial commit of backend service, and then closed with double quotes. And if I do that, it went ahead and added everything. So if I do Git Status now, you'll notice that the green stuff isn't there anymore, because what's happened now is I committed it to my local copy of this project. Now I want to go ahead and push it to the remote copy. So right here, I could actually be doing the source code management things that I would like to do. So if, say, I make some more changes from here that I don't like, I could go ahead and restore back from this stuff that's here. We'll get into that later on when we get into more Git related lessons. But for right now, I'm trying to show you how to push it up to your repo and then how to pull it back in the very next lesson in case you didn't want to do the back end part of this front end course. Okay, so the next thing is we want to set the default branch. So git branch -m, I don't know what m means, must be something for the default, and here's main, so, or maybe it means main branch. So I'm going to click on that, and that set my default branch to main. And now I'm going to go ahead and set the remote repo. So I've initialized it, and it doesn't know anything about the github.com repo that I created until I actually add the origin, which points to it by URL. And so I'm going to go ahead and run that here. And now that I've done that, I can actually push it up to here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and refresh this page right here. And by doing that, it's refreshed and it's still telling me, okay, nothing's initialized. Here's how you initialize your repo. It doesn't know that it's connected or gotten source code yet. But when I run this push command, it's going to come up here. And when I refresh this page, it's going to show me the code that I pushed up. Okay, ready? So here we go. So I've got the push command and I'm going to hit enter and it's going to go ahead and ask for my password. You may or may not get this on Windows and it's going to ask again. Okay, and I must have done something wrong. Let's see. Remote support, something password. I probably have some kind of protection on my account. Okay, so get hub. Wrong. Username. So must not be set up down here is probably what's wrong. So this is full stack. Then you'll need to do this too if you're not set up. Okay, so that is my github.com username, full stack cloud developer. And then my GitHub password. Okay, password something something. All right, so okay, so as typical in this course, we have issues to work out, so we learn how to get through it. So remote support for password authentication was removed on August 13th. Please use a personal access token instead. Okay, so I need to get a personal access token. Wow, I did not know that. So I haven't actually done any initialization of a repo for a while. Okay, so I'm just going to go there and see what these instructions are because this is new. Okay, good lesson. All right, so here we are, token requirements for Git. So what do we do here? I'm not interested in reading all this right now because we're in the middle of a lesson. I actually just want to know what to do. And it doesn't tell me easily, so I guess we have to read more. We announce the intent to require tokens. So something about token access to remain affected background. Okay, so how do I get to my token? Okay, it's telling me why it's great, what I need to do. This is great. Okay, so if you're using a password to authenticate Git operations, GitHub today, you must begin using a personal access token. So I think if I click on this, it'll take us where we need to go. Okay, creating a personal access token. Okay, verify your email address if it hasn't been yet verified. I think it has. Let's go ahead and do this. So this is what you'll be doing too. So I just clicked on that link. Wow, lots of instructions. Okay, so on GitHub in the upper right hand corner, something something settings, emails. Okay, so let's do that. Caught off guard a little bit here. All right, so here, go to settings, something about emails. Let's see. Okay, so I've already verified my email. So what you'll do is you'll go to settings, you'll click on emails like we just did, and then you'll enter your email address, follow the verification steps, which I've already done, apparently. And then there's some troubleshooting steps. So that's a verified email. All right, so now that we've done that, or I've done it before, you're going to be doing that now. Now we need to get back to where we were. So I verified the email, and we've got a personal access token. So verified, good. Upper right corner, settings, developer settings is next. All right, so I'm going to go to this thing. I'm going to go to settings, and we want developer settings. Is this alphabetical? Nope. Okay, right here in the middle. And then what's it say to do from here? Personal access tokens. Oh, there it is. And then what's next? Click generate token. So we need to generate a token. All right, note, what's this for? GitHub. Expiration 30 days. Do I want it to expire? Not really. I mean, that's probably common because then it'll just ask me to redo it. It's probably a good idea. It's best for security to not set it to no. So let's do this. So if in 30 days I'm doing a lesson and we get caught in this, we'll learn how to get out of that mess too. Okay, and so this token is good for what? Let's see. a descriptive name. We just said GitHub. So, and so this token is for our login for any repos that we create for the next 30 days. Expiration 7 days is what they put in there. Let's go ahead and stick with 30. Scopes. So scopes are the things that allow us access. We want full access to ours. So if we just click repo, we'll get everything we need here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, repo access. And then scroll down. I think it said to click generate token. Yep, generate token. Okay, we've got a token. Let's copy it. And then what do we do from there? Using a token on the command line. So we're going to do our get clone username, and instead of a password, we're going to use a token. Okay, so maybe now we can do this again. We're going to push, and now it's going to ask for the username, full stack cloud developer. And I pasted the token right there. Ah, that worked. All right, so now it actually pushed up. So we're not using passwords anymore. We're using tokens, and now we just learned how to do a token. All right, so now if I go back to GitHub on that page that we were on, which has changed now, you'll see here that the course has been added. So I won't be able to show you that refreshing that page does that, and you might not get to see it either on this repo because it's your first one. You'll have to go through the same steps we just went through. Okay, so here's our repo. We've got all the stuff that we added. Here's the repo readme that we added, front end, course, back end, and here's our source code. So if I go source, it's just a folder tree, just like it is on your hard drive. And we'll go into this demo application. If we come back here, here's the code we added with the address book. So now we've got this here. So then what you can do if you don't want to do the backend course, this next lesson I'm going to record right after this one is actually pulling this down and running it. All right, so now that we've got this up here, we've got this application down here. What I'm going to do is, let's do this. Let's run through a couple of Git commands. So let's make a change to that. So we've got it here, and we've just synced it. So our local now looks like the remote, which the remote is in GitHub. So let's go ahead and make a quick change. And we've got VS Code open with this init. So we should be able to get to that README file that we just created. So front end, back end. Let's change this. Let's do this. Front end is 2 words, I think, on this one. So front end, course, back end. Okay, and then we'll just say this is, so I'm modifying a file just to show you how to push changes up. All right, so this is the back end, front end course. Let's see, let's leave another message in here. Clone this repo if you do not want to let's say build the backend yourself. Spell it right. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Now when I go here, so Git has a lot of commands, but you really only use a couple of them. So the first one is Git Status. That's the one I use like all the time, every time I'm making any changes, or if I just want to know, because sometimes I go eat lunch and come back, okay, where was I? Git Status will tell me if I've modified any files. I like to end whatever I'm doing with a check-in. So that means that I don't have any modified files because I don't want to not remember. But if I don't remember, I could just do Git Status. And then, so that's the one that I use the most. How about Get Diff? Will tell me what I've changed. So it's going to list the file that I've changed. It's going to say what it used to have and what I've added new. So that's handy for seeing files. And you can actually target it at a particular file if you've changed multiple files. And it'll give you the same diff. If you run diff without anything, it's going to tell you all the files that change. So if you run Git Status, which I use a lot, let's look at it a little bit closer. It's going to list all the files that have been modified, all the files that have been modified and are staged and ready to go. And by modified, it could be you changed a file or you added a file. And then you need to run, let's go ahead and make a new file just for fun. Let's just do it in VS Code. I don't confuse you guys with command line stuff right now. So let's go create a new file. And I'm just going to say, how about random readme? So it's a random markdown. I'm going to save it. Okay, and this is a new file. And I did that just so we could show what the status looks like. So get status. So here's the modified file, and here's an untracked file. Now, untracked file means it hasn't been added to my repo yet, and it says use get add file to include it. So random has not been added. So another command that I use a lot is get add. And I can do --all, which is dangerous because if I have it compiled and I haven't cleaned it out, I'm going to have a bunch of stuff in there that I don't want. So I'm just going to do get add and add it in particular. And if I want to add other files, not readme is already in there, but you could just add them. So get add space, another file, another file. Readme is already in there. It won't hurt anything if I left it in there, but I'll just take it out. So then I do add. Now if I do get status, you'll see that the modified files in green changes not staged for commit. That means that it's now in there and it's modified as readme. And here's the new file random. Sorry, I did that backwards. So here's the new file up here, and then here's the readme modified file. Okay, so then now I can do get commit. And I'll say modified readme and added random file. Okay, so now that's that was a commit, and now it's asking me to do something about, let's see, full stack cloud developer something. Your email and address were configured automatically based on your username. So I want to go ahead and do this because I want it to know every time that I'm doing that. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it there and run it. So it wants to have my right name, email. So I need to actually correct this first. So I need to correct it down there, but let's go ahead and fix this because it did. It's using my local machine instead of my Gmail address. So gmail.com. All right, so if I escape. All right, I think that just set my email address correctly. So let's do this get status again. So after doing this, you may fix the identity used for this commit with this command. So if I look at this commit, if I do get log, you'll notice that it's got the wrong email address here. So I can fix that with the command that they just said. So I could do this, and that'll fix it. And then if I do get log again, so get log's another one I don't use very often, but it's handy. You'll see that it didn't fix anything actually. And do I care? Not right now. So let's just leave this as it is, and we'll go back to get status. We've got our modified readme, and we're just going to do get push. Let's see, wait, changes not staged for commit. So modified, so get add readme, get status. Okay, now it's ready to go. Get push. So I can get push, and that'll push the changes. A nice, safe way to do things too is to actually add the word origin, because that's the root of the repo, and then what branch it is. So that way you don't accidentally check into your wrong branch. And we'll learn about branching later on. So this just pushed that up there. So let's see what actually happened on our repo. And this is actually turning into a get lesson. Oh, so there's the random file that we just pushed up. So that's how you add a file. Okay, and so that's how this all works. So what I showed you was get status is a very used command. Let's see, let's see, get branch. I thought I did this already, modified. Everything up to date. I don't know what's doing that. Use get reset head file to unstage. Okay. Okay, you can see how I'm just typing pretty quick the things that I'm getting through here. Nothing specified, nothing added. Maybe you wanted to say get add dot. How about get add readme? So get status is a command I use. Get add I already did. Commit. Change have to actually put the I there. I spelled it wrong. So Git Commit. Okay, so it seemed to be in this endless cycle here right now. So let's go ahead and fix this right now. All right, good. So we got to some place where it's actually going to fix something. So username. So you follow these same steps. Basically, I just cut and paste, and I'm putting my username, cloud developer. Okay, it's one quote. So that's that. And then I want to set my email address too. And maybe this will get us out of this vicious cycle here. Oops, as that said user email. All right, and I don't think it had quotes. I can see it right here. Okay, maybe now it won't do that anymore. After doing this, we can set the author. Okay, fine. Okay, now what? Okay, now I can push. Get push. And I could just say push and then it'll just push, but I like to always put the origin and the branch. Okay, now let's see what happened to our README. So 17 minutes ago it says it was updated. If I refresh the page, it says 1 minute ago, and now it has our changes. So you notice all the source code's up here on this repo, so that's kind of nice. So it's remote. All right, so that is pushing stuff up. So let's go over these commands really quick one more time. So get status tells me what's changed. Okay, nothing's changed. Get add is one that we want to use, and we put whatever file name we want here. Get commit -m and whatever our message is, and then get push. Now push will push to whatever my current branch is, but sometimes I really want to know what the branch is pushing to, so I explicitly tell it what to do. And if I ever want to know what the branch is, I could just do get branch, and it'll give me a list of branches. If I ever want to create a branch, I do get checkout -b to create a branch, and let's just say branch. Let's just call it new branch. Usually give it a descriptive name of what you're trying to change. Let's do that. Okay, let's say change README. Not that you would ever make a branch this, but that's that. So then it's switched to that branch. So now if I do get branch to tell me what branch I'm on, I'll see that I'm on this green one here that says README, or the one with the star. And then I also have another branch called main. If I want to switch branch to main again, just do get checkout main. So those are the Git commands. If you want to pull down the repo and not make any, and not build it yourself, you would do get clone and HTTPS, and then it's github.com, right? And then the username, mine, full stack cloud developer. And if you're doing this for your own, full stack cloud developer, and then what I call it, front end course. Okay, and so you don't really have to remember all this, because really what you could simply do is, if you're just trying to do this, you're going to go to GitHub, full stack cloud developer, front end, back end course. You're going to navigate there, and then you just go to this code button here, and right here where it says how you want it, you're going to say I want HTTPS, and you're just going to copy that and clone it, and it's going to actually put all this stuff in here. So what I'm going to do is just Control C this, and I'm going to get clone, paste. And there it goes. So it went ahead and downloaded. So that's another command that's used a lot. Okay, so that ends this lesson. So I'm going to stop here. So that's how you push a repo up and how you get it back down to here. So what I'm going to do now is record the lessons from the point where you don't want to do you don't want to build this thing yourself and compile it and learn Java, the backend stuff, which I really strongly suggest that you do. But if you don't want to do that, you really just want to stick to the front end. You don't want to get confused with the back end. Not that it's confusing. It's actually kind of simple. You just go ahead and follow this next tutorial that I'm going to record now. Okay, so I'm going to end this tutorial or lesson and be back in a minute to record the next one. See you in the next lesson.